Starstruck.
Welcome back to the Joyride podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest. Former President Barack Obama is joining us today. How are you, Mr. Obama?
I was good, then I lost my Escalade. Goddamn thing's nowhere to be found. Fucking bullshit.
Well, sorry to hear that, sir, but we have something to cheer you up, which is part 6 to this show, which is hello and welcome to Joyride. I am Jared Brandon Flandy, and
I'm Kyle Dotterman.
And this is the show that is not about the destination, but about the journey. And this is the final part of the Colton Harris Moore saga, the Barefoot Bandit, part 6.
So excited.
All right. So, a little recap. So, Colt went across his cross-country joyride, and then he stole a plane in the Midwest, was trying to get to Cuba, overestimated his fuel, crash-landed in Cuba, survived, of course.
In Cuba or the Bahamas?
Not, Bahamas, I said Cuba, sorry. In the Bahamas. And walking his way, stealing around, police are after him. So,
but they just missed him.
And they just missed him after he bought a sandwich. So, carrying on from that, in episode 6 here. So, let's see here. Let me open up the script. So, more visitors were arriving on the island, but they were not sailors who wanted to partake in the regatta. Instead, they were members of the East Coast media. Colt, interestingly, had an irrational fear of what he called the paparazzi. So this is obviously bad news for him. So the Royal Bahamian Police Force also had intensified its search by utilizing K9 units. To add to this, the assistant commissioner had the island on lockdown, and photos of Colt were being widely distributed.
Yeah, when you think about it, an island is really the worst place Colton could have gone. I think he probably could have kept going for years and years had he not done this. Because, you know, how could they have stopped him? I mean, he just kept stealing one car after another.
He's by far probably not the only barefoot person on a tropical island, but he's probably one of the few barefoot 6'4" white guys on this tropical island. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be really, I think this is probably the end.
Right.
Well, this is the last part,
So, but it's not going to end the way you think it's going to end, okay? So,
Okay.
Despite the paparazzi and the dogs, Colt continued to pretend he was in a Jimmy Buffett song. He even broke with tradition by going into a sports bar where he enjoyed a single cold beer before he left.
I feel better about him now.
Okay, you're like, I can level with
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
As fate would have it, Bob Frill, the author, had worked extensively as a travel writer, and a place he knew well prophetically happened to be the outer islands of the Bahamas. With reports of Colt there, Bob started calling some of his friends he knew who lived on the islands. One morning, he got a call from his friend Tim, who told Bob that a boat was stolen from one of the marinas. He even knew where it was heading, Preacher's Cove, which was on the neighboring island of, it's hard to pronounce, Eleuthera, Eleuthera.
We'll put it in the we'll put it in the description.
Okay, so there you go. The boat itself was a 45-foot Sea Ray Sundancer that was valued at $750,000. With a price tag like that, Bob knew it had to be Colt, so he booked his flight and was on his way to the Bahamas. In the boat, Colt had to sail 48 miles over open ocean, which was 13,000 feet deep. To top it off, he had to endure terrifying swells since the seas were particularly rough when he ventured out. Even though the waters were treacherous for an experienced captain, somehow Colt made it through all of it.
Just pure belief.
Just pure. Maybe it was just the Snickers helped clear his head. I don't know. Okay. Though he did have some trouble when he got close to the shore, since he ended up destroying the boat's running gear on some coral.
Yeah.
Forcing him to Michael Phelps his way to dry land.
I like that we're calling swimming Michael Phelpsing now. It's a verb. I'm Phelpsing.
It's a verb, bro. Verb life, bro.
Yeah, it's not a swimming pool. It's a Phelpsing pool.
Later on, a boat taxi. So, like, literally, like, they go between the islands,
yeah.
right? Okay. At Tree Island Dock. Sorry, let me start over again. Later on, a boat taxi driver at Tree Island Dock, who was named Ricky Ricardo, told someone he had been messing with some of the wiring on some of the boats.
Ricky Ricardo and Spider would be good friends. Spider was a character in the last episode.
Coakley's Rum Shop had been broken into.
Excuse me, what?
Coakley's Rum Shop.
Rum. I heard rub. And I was like, what exactly? You can't just... I heard rub shop. And I was like, no,
Colton's
no.
like, well, I'm in the Bahamas. Why not?
When in Rome. Okay. Rum. R-U-M. As in,
Kyle.
where has the rum gone?
So, sorry. The police thought it may have been a local, but no rum was taken.
It's good to know. I was worried. Way to go.
Among some other items, the only things taken were water, Gatorade, and a few beers.
It's funny to think there was Gatorade. It was random. He loves Gatorade.
He likes Gatorade, yeah. The main indicator it was Colt was the missing Snickers bars.
Yeah, there you go. No mention of how many there were
not
this time.
So yeah.
Sloppy.
On an interesting note, the Bandit had flown the coop in the U.S. on American Independence Day, but it was now July 10th.
Mm-hmm.
The Bahamas still recognize the British monarch as their head of state, but July 10th is the day the Bahamas received their independence from the British Empire in 1973.
Okay.
So this was another lucky break for Colt, since there would be many Independence Day parties taking place that night. This means there is going to be plenty of boats owned by the partygoers to choose from if you wanted to travel to another island. So, when the orange sun began to sink into the azure horizon of the Caribbean, it did not take long for the islanders to start liming. Liming being Caribbean slang for partying, which starts at dusk and ends, well, as anyone's guess. So, Caribbean parties typically feature amazing barbecued food, rum, maybe the other thing.
Yeah, maybe.
And good music that is not regulated just to reggae, but also includes soca, ska, and calypso. That involuntarily causes you to shake your head or booty to the groove.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
So we know not to give you rum and then play those songs.
I know.
Rum. The Royal Bahamian Police Force, of course, had been on high alert, but on that night, one of the toughest cops in the Caribbean was on the scene. Enter Chief Inspector Roston Moss.
There's no way these names are real.
Chief Inspector Roston Moss.
Roston Moss.
It sounds like Rastaman.
Spider, Ricky Ricardo, and Roston Moss. There's just no way.
A 25-year police veteran who had one mission in mind. Catch Colton Harris Moore.
Thank God that someone's finally taking this seriously.
This is literally the bum bum bum. Yeah. As Roston Moss comes in.
Yeah. Did he, kick open the door of his cruising and go, Roston Moss is here.
Looks at the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so meanwhile, Colt had broken into a vacation house and found the key to a white 13-foot Boston Whaler Super Sport that was on a trailer outside the house.
13 feet doesn't seem very big.
It's not like a big sailing. It's a motorboat.
Okay,
but it's one of those kind of fast ones. So, probably due to his size, he was able to get the boat in the water. He fired up the engine and took off into the night. back at Coakley's rum shop.
Yep.
19-year-old Maurice Jonasson, who had worked as part of the dock staff for Remora Bay Resort, was at the dock with his buddy waiting for a water taxi. As they were waiting, they heard the sound of a boat motor, but it was not a taxi. A white vessel came speeding from the black waters. The crowd started yelling at the white guy who was driving it to slow down, but once he saw there was so many people there, he spun the boat around and headed back into the black water. If that was not strange enough, the boat came back, slowed down, and the person driving it shut off the motor. Okay. Maurice saw Colt. Quote, I asked him what he was doing. Colt replied, did you hear about the plane I crashed? Just no shit's given.
Well, you got to think the socialization skills. He's kind of been living, on
Dude, you're
his
right.
own,
Unless he's been calling like his mob secret or something, he's probably talked to no one for all he is.
He's been talking to Wilson.
Wilson, yes, could say Wilson. You ate all my Snickers, didn't you, Wilson?
Fess up.
He's got chocolate all over his face. Dumbfounded, the guys on the dock continued to talk with him. That was you that do that? Said Maurice. Yeah. What's your name? Maurice asked him. Colton Harris. The bantering continued for a bit as Colt's boat slowly drifted toward the dock. The two other guys knew about the $10,000 reward, but before Colt got close enough, he calmly started the motor again. He motored away a little bit, then killed the engine.
You can't get me.
Gosh, he's taunting them. Colt and the guys at the dock continued to chat for about half an hour. After Colt said he missed his mom, he asked why he did not go back home. Colt said, too many cops, and then asked, so where are your cops? It's either Maurice or Morris, we'll call him Maurice, stated there weren't any. Colt demanded they call them. He began mad and yelled, quote, call the cops, I want to get chased, for real, call them. Maurice wasn't lying when he said there weren't any, which is why everyone who had gathered on the dock were not dialing their cell phones. Maurice's buddy did reach for his phone, but he was not calling the police. Instead, he was calling a friend that had a boat and told the friend they were talking to the bandit. Seeing that a call was being made, Colt fired up the boat, smiled, and said, I'm gone. As he was dashing away, he cooked up a last-minute send-off line by saying, read about me on the internet. It's like a Family Guy episode.
That's stupid. Yeah. Whoa. Hey, Peter, you heard about...
Is that Obama or Joe? Obama?
Joe? I'll leave that. I'll leave that for the audience to decide.
Okay. So the small boat buzzed toward Harbor Island. The chase was on. A taxi boat and another boat were in pursuit of Colt, but his whaler was the faster vessel. In the pitch-black darkness, Colt saw the lights of the Remora Bay Resort and maneuvered the whaler next to a small dock. He jumped out, and with his backpack strapped on and a Walther PPK in hand, he started running.
Wait, he had a gun?
It was a gun.
I
Walther
didn't know
PPK
that.
is a gun.
Yeah.
As made famous by James Bond.
Do we know where he got that from?
No, not known.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know if he's had it or...
And it's an unlicensed gun, so it's probably something he's not going to really fess up to later on.
It's just a very specific weapon,
Well, he was a James Bond fan,
Yeah.
so that's probably my guess. That's why he chose that specific gun, which is a very small pistol. It's almost not practical for practical purposes. But
he had to find it somewhere along the way and keep it, is my guess. He probably didn't find it on the island.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
So, Kinney, I think the most normal name thus far.
Thank God.
The imposing security guard of the resort was making his rounds when he saw a tall white boy running and screaming, "They're trying to kill me!" Kinney realized it was the bandit and started running alongside Colt. Kinney had no intention of hurting him, but when he saw Colt's gun, he played it safe and stopped running.
Yep.
He called Sergeant Hart of the Royal Bahamian Police Force, who told Kinney to go get his shotgun. The island had recently been experiencing some electrical and communications problems, which caused the landlines to be down, and the communication problem also caused spotty cell reception. Because of this, Hart sent someone to inform Chief Inspector Moss, who was fast asleep. He made his way to the resort, that's Hart, okay, where he met up with Kinney. While Kinney was telling him about Colt, they were interrupted by a scream. A woman was outside when Colt appeared out of nowhere, gun in hand. She told the other men he ran off into the forest that was close by. Instead of running into the bush himself, Hart called in backup, and now plenty of armed men were on their way looking for Colt. Even though Colt was used to hiding in forests, this was not an Oregon or Washington forest. Instead of soft moss, Colt's bare feet had to contend with sharp limestone and thorny undergrowth. Meanwhile, Moss the policeman was on his way. Once he was woken up, he responded by getting dressed as fast as he could. He got dressed so fast that he ran out of the house while still wearing his slippers. No. Flop, 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 flop. There's the intense music playing.
I'm a little slower today than usual. I don't know why. Couldn't be these slippers. I don't know.
I'd loved if they were like his wife's pink.
Yeah, they got the little bunnies. The bunny. Stop in the name of the law, dude. You got slippers on.
So
imagine getting arrested by someone wearing slippers.
I'm sure it's happened.
Talking from experience.
No. Good question. So let's see here. Things became such a goings-on that headquarters in Nassau were informed of the mayhem. Orders started being communicated through radios to all the available police officers. All in all, Moss gathered 16 men. He led one team, while Hart ran the other. They were armed with everything from 9mm pistols to Uzi machine guns. Unarmed Civil Patrol joined them as well.
Yeah, and this got a lot more dangerous because they know he's armed. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times I've kind of made fun of the police for just like being so useless and not being able to apprehend him because he hasn't really had a weapon up until this point.
No, and that's part of it. You are correct on that. But now that he does, yeah. So that's changed up the game a bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So while the police and the angry villagers were looking for him, Colt navigated through the bush, and once he was out, he beelined to the docks of the resort. Security footage showed Colt frantically running back and forth on the docks. It's like, I don't know if it's the Betty Healthy flag or something else. His panicked running came to a screeching halt when he saw a yacht called the Lady BJ. Moored port. What?
No. Keep going.
What?
I said nothing.
What?
I said nothing.
No, you were curious about something.
I was, and my curiosity.
Well, let's just back up. Let's back up a second here, okay? Because I kind of lost my train of thought. His panic running came to a screeching halt when he saw a yacht called the Lady BJ.
Yeah, see, that's where I got to ask. You buy a yacht and you call it that. You call it that.
Don't ask me why. It was not explained. Okay. More importantly, he saw a dual-motor Intrepid boat floating next to it, and as luck would have it, the keys were in it. The posse back up to the resort heard the boat roar to life. Kinney and the others yelled, "That's him! That's him!" Colt grabbed the helm of the boat and floored it. Sergeant Hart and his team ran down to the docks, but Colt was already long gone. They asked the owner of the yacht, the Picasso, if they could commandeer their sport boat, the Dr. J, of which they gave their permission. So Chief Inspector Moss tried to commandeer another boat, but it didn't start. It took a couple of tries, but they finally found a boat that would start. Even though the boats they had commandeered were as fast as the one Colt had stolen, the amount of police officers armed with heavy weaponry would slow them down compared to Colt being the only person in the boat.
And he had a head start.
So in other words, catching the bandit was a long shot.
Yep.
Colt roared past the south end of Harbor Island. It was so dark that he could only see some lights blinking on the island, but he was no stranger when it came to traveling at night, even when it's a twin-motor sport boat at full throttle and a location darker than a British person's sense of humor. With the police hot this trail, Colt had got the shot of adrenaline he had craved that night. All he had to do was island hop until he reached Cuba, and then he could start his new life. His future was soon going to be filled with the aroma of a cigar while cruising in a classic Cuban car. But then, Havana disappeared. The boat hit a sandbar. Ron Below, who was piloting the Dr. J, knew where the sandbar was, so when they got close, he throttled down. The spotlight danced about a bit until it landed on Colt. The police force collectively started yelling, "Stop! It's over! You're caught! Put your hands up!" Colt sprang up with his PPK in hand and fired a warning shot. He was ordered to drop the gun. He then yelled, "Don't come any closer! I'm not going back to jail! Don't come any closer or I'll kill myself!" The muzzle of Colt's gun was now at the side of his head. "Go away! I'll kill myself!" The police were not buying it. Eventually, Colt lowered the gun, but he refused to quit. He flung himself at the controls and throttled the Intrepid back up again. Then something surprising started to happen. The boat was beginning to break loose from the sandbar. Oh Worried the bandit might escape their grasp, the police force opened fire. A shotgun blast blew through one of the Intrepid's motors. The 9mm were also being fired. Soon the Intrepid was being bombarded by a storm of buckshot and bullets. Some projectiles even ricocheted toward Colt, which somehow amazingly missed him.
Of course they did.
Of course. The carnage eventually stopped. The engine just falls off. Something of that. Smoke everywhere, okay? Colt jumped up and yelled, "Stop shooting! I can't hear! I can't hear!"
Something they never do in movies, right?
No, I can't hear. The police responded with, "Drop your weapon! Show us your hands!" Not being one who has ever been good at following orders, of course, Colt instead disposed of the evidence he had, including his backpack, iPod, and the PPK, by throwing them overboard. Once the police knew Colt was no longer armed, they ordered him to stay low on the deck and then boarded the Intrepid. It's been said he became extremely calm. After Colt had been cuffed, he softly said, "You should have killed me." That's a little heavy.
Wow.
The police returned to the docks, Colt in tow, where he was given his first of many walks of shame. Throughout these perp walks, his head was hung low, and not necessarily out of shame, but due to his dislike of the so-called paparazzi. He was initially brought to a smaller police branch, where he was asked many questions, of which many he wisely did not answer. The only thing he kind of left, or kind of said at some point during here, was he was either going to go to Cuba or Turks and Caicos. That was, I think, kind of about it. Typically, he would have been sent to Fox Hill, an absolute nightmare of a prison. Due to the high-profile nature of the case, the Bahamian government ended up not sending Colt there, since it might cause bad publicity due to the terrible conditions the prisoners sent there have to endure. So, instead of a grand courthouse, bring in the horse. Instead of a grand courthouse, Colt was taken to a basic courtroom where he was only charged with entering the country without a passport.
Okay. Well, yeah, sure. Okay.
Do you think that's not enough?
Yeah. Shockingly, I'm going to say that's a little bit on the light side.
Interestingly enough, Colt was receiving legal support via a mysterious benefactor from Seattle who in the past had even offered $50,000 if he turned himself in. Colt ended up pleading guilty to the immigration charge and then was sentenced to 3 months in jail or a $300 fine. His benefactor paid the fine. Okay. Now, this might seem like a slap on the wrist, but the Bahamian government was playing it safe. They were receiving international attention and in a positive light, and they wanted to keep it that way. So, regarding the goal of apprehending Colt, many law enforcement agencies had been involved. Deputies from Iowa County, deputies from San Juan County, Washington State Patrol, Oregon State Police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, local departments across the country, including Yamhill County, Special Weapons and Tactics Teams, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation had all failed over a period of 2 years, but the plucky Royal Bahamian Police Force had managed to apprehend the bandit without anyone getting hurt and in less than 2 weeks.
And what did they do? They chased him. Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to them for doing their job.
Blew the shit up.
Do you remember back earlier in the story where they were kind of barricading a house that Colton could have gone to? This was back on the islands up in the Pacific Northwest. And they're like, well, we're going to block off this road. Oh, this red truck is coming up. Oh, okay. Yeah, red truck. Come on through. Wait a minute.
It's like a Laurel Hardy thing.
My God.
So, for those who think the $300 fine was not enough, don't you worry, because Colt would receive his true comeuppance when he returned to the United States.
Yeah.
Mr. Harris Moore would fly again, but this time it was on Con Air. Fine airline.
Yes, very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
His first stop was Miami, but he was later transferred to Washington State, where he was held at the SeaTac Federal Detention Center. Due to the plethora of felonies Colt had committed by now, and the fact crimes had now been committed in multiple countries, his legal defense was a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, at first, a single package deal was conceived by his legal team, but this proved to be too complicated. It was broken into 2 packages. During questioning, Colt was surprisingly helpful by admitting to everything. He seemed genuinely remorseful for the things he had done, the things he stole, the lives he had disrupted, and most of all, the planes he destroyed.
Yep.
He was most sad about that.
Yeah. Millions of dollars in planes by that point.
Because he just loved the planes.
Yep.
As part of a plea deal, he pled guilty to 7 felony charges and 25 other crimes that occurred outside of Washington State. To add to his troubles, the damages from his adventures amounted to $1,409,438
That we know of.
that we know of which Colt agreed to pay $959,438,000 in restitution. Almost $1 million.
Yeah.
In his first round of sentencing, it was suggested he should receive a 6 years of state prison time. Fortunately, there was one luxury commodity a criminal like Colt usually does not have, and that was his life story. Knock, knock, knock. Hollywood came to the rescue. So they paid $1.4 million for the rights to his story in order to adapt it into a movie. As part of the deal, all the money would go to Colt's victims. A lucky break, since it was unlikely a kid who did not finish high school was going to ever be able to pay nearly $1 million back in time, if not his whole life.
Yeah.
So, eventually he was sent to Island County to answer for an additional 28 charges that occurred there. The judge, who had been aware of Colt's abusive past and the fact he may have been suffering from fetal alcohol spectrum disorders,
Interesting. Okay.
were all taken into account. So Judge Churchill, in her closing statement, said, quote, I think this case is a tragedy in many ways, but it's also a triumph of the human spirit. I sympathize with the defendant due to the terrible upbringing he had. As one investigator indicated, it was a mind-numbing absence of hope. It was a tragedy he'd had to steal food, to endure the taunts and jeers of his classmates, that he had an alcoholic and abusive mother. We can all shake our heads and wonder, how did this happen? And more importantly, how can we keep it happening from another child? She further stated, I was struck that I could have been reading the history of a mass murder. I could have been reading about a drug-addicted, alcoholic, abusive young man who followed in the path of his mother, yet I was not reading that story. That is the true triumph, as the triumph of Colton Harris Moore. He has survived.
Yeah, quite literally.
Quite literally. As understanding as she was not going to let him walk free. Judge Churchill said she had a duty to uphold the law and protect the public. Colt had a long criminal record and a high offender count, but since he appeared to be truly sorry for his crimes, she decided to give him the most minimal sentence available. On December 16, 2011, Colton Harris Moore was sentenced to 7 years and 3 months of county prison time. She concluded with, I wish him well. She also added on an additional $292,167 to his restitution.
And $300K.
So his state, county, and 6-year federal sentence he received were all mercifully consolidated into a single and neat 6-year sentence.
Wow.
During one of his hearings, Colt said when he was released from prison, he was going to get his life together by planning to become a student so he could eventually go to college in order to study aeronautical engineering. Imagine sitting next to him in class.
Yeah.
So what'd you do this summer?
Well, this place in the Bahamas.
This is okay. I don't want to talk about it. The convicted bandit was transferred to a prison in Aberdeen, Washington to serve his sentence, but he would not be there for the full 6 years. On September 2nd, 2016, the former Barefoot Bandit was released on parole after only serving 4 years. I'm assuming because of good behavior.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Because he wasn't a violent criminal. So he then went to live in a halfway house in Seattle. Not much is known of his post-prison life. What is known is he took a part-time job as a clerical worker for one of the lawyers that represented him. The last known interview he gave was in May of 2019 on KTTH 770 in Seattle. When asked about his 2008 flight in the Cessna, Colt reciprocated with, quote, "It's this uncontrollable obsession. That's really what it is. It's something that you've dreamt about and waited for your entire life. And out of all the possibilities of that moment, no matter what scenario or situation you could find yourself in, that one moment you're exactly where you were supposed to be. And I wonder if I'll ever feel that again. It's one of those moments I think that you only get once or twice in your entire life."
Wow.
In his case, very early in his life.
Yeah.
So, as your storyteller and chronicler of adventures, I'd like to now bring things to a close. Over these past 6 episodes, you've heard a tale that is truly stranger than fiction. The characters and events are something right out of a classic adventure novel, and the fact that they're real is the most amazing fact of all. However, as impressive as Mr. Harris Moore's actions were, I cannot condone them, and I don't think he'd want me to either. He's obviously a bright young man who I think still has a lot of potential in life if he stays on the straight and narrow. He has said since his release from prison he just wants to live a quiet and normal life, and I genuinely hope he will achieve that if he's not already done so. Colton is someone I might even go fishing with, but just as long as the joyride we go on is in a legally rented boat. And that is the end of our story.
Wow. Man, all in all, 6 years, served 4.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, one of the main things about this story that really sticks out to me is the amount of times that he should have died.
Yeah.
In about every episode, there's a section where you think,
This is it.
Yeah. He probably should be dead. And he's just like a cockroach. He just can't be killed no matter what.
Cat with 9 lives.
I mean, what do you think the chances of survival are? If you were to peg that, you're in a speedboat in the Bahamas. It's pitch black. You're hitting a sandbar. You have a gun. Chances of survival, I don't know, 5% generously. And he does. And that's probably one of the least surprising survivals that he has.
So,
what are we looking at? 3 plane crashes?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, when I set down to do this, I was thinking this was going to be just our usual 1-part episode. And I was reading through the main source material. And mind you, there's some other sources here. I'll get to that in a second. But, so once I got all that compiled down, I went, this is going to be a 1-part. This is going to be a 2-part. This is going to be our first 3-parter. Then I got to 4, I got to 5, and I got to 6. And I was kind of going, there's so much going on here. I mean, mind you, I cut out a lot of detail too, but there was so much that because you could read a lot of articles on this, and when he's going across the country, it literally just says oh well, he stole some cars and then he got from here to here to here, and then he stole a plane. And it's that does not justify, the dare I say it, the impressiveness of what he did.
Yeah, yeah. And really, it's one of those interesting things where at so many points in this story, he could have just stopped. He could have turned back. He could have chosen to end this himself. And it's interesting that he finally, in a sense, kind of chose to do that in the Bahamas. I think even he probably knew. What could you really do at that point?
Right.
Steal an ocean-worthy vessel and sail to where exactly? To Cuba? I mean, realistically, is that going to happen? I mean, even for his standards, that's a bit outrageous.
So, sources for this were Colton Harris Moore Timeline from Herald Net. Of course, The Barefoot Bandit, Colton Harris Moore, New American Outlaw by Bob Frill. The documentary Fly Colt Fly, which was directed by two brothers, Gray A and Gray A. I can't remember their first names, but they're both A's. And then True Crime, The Barefoot Bandit at historylink.org. Now, like I'd said in one or two of these episodes, I had contacted the author of The Barefoot Bandit, Colton Harris Moore, and I was just telling him that I really appreciated the book, and I was asking him if he could provide me a couple extra details. And then I kind of threw in there. I said this, I was like, I direct movies as well, so I kind of saw that the rights to this were sold. So whatever happened to that? Because nothing has come fruition from that.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you're about the fourth director that's been interested in it, and he said it's gone through quite a few different hands. And I'm like, well, who else? And it was J.J. Abrams. I went, oh, okay, Robert Zemeckis. I'm like, oh, this competition's getting a little stiff. And then the final one was Steven Spielberg. I was like, oh, this got really tough. Okay. But as I said, this has not been made. So the rights have transferred from Fox to Disney. So if you want Kyle and me to make this movie, just write to Disney and make it happen for us, okay?
It's just that easy.
Yeah, it's that easy.
Look, they're shutting down Hulu, so they can't make it a direct-to-Hulu exclusive. So at least we can make it to Disney Plus. I mean, yeah. I mean, think about the prestige, a direct-to-Disney Plus streaming movie. Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe it.
All right. Well, let's see here. Do you have any other closing thoughts, Kyle?
Lock your doors, count your Snickers.
Your wieners.
Check your wieners. Where are they at? It's like that old ad. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your wieners are?
So the next episode here was something I wrote a while back. So I've thankfully don't remember most of it, just the gist of it. But we're going to be switching roles here. And Kyle is going to be reading the story. And I will be commentating this time.
He gets to razz me while I read. He's going to like it. He's not going to, ladies and gentlemen, he's not going to go back to writing. We're like, this is way easier. And he gets to show up and do terrible Obama impressions. So much better. Such a better life.
And rum jokes.
Yeah. Hey, man, I definitely heard rum.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you, everyone, for... thank you very much for listening. Again, we're on Patreon. We appreciate that immensely. If you can pitch in whatever you can, check out our links. And I hope you liked our 6-part story of the Barefoot Bandit, Colton Harris Moore. And we will catch you next time, all right?
Take it easy.
Signing out.